The first European to reach America was a Viking. Around the year 1000, Leif Erikson discovered modern-day Newfoundland, but little or nothing of his achievement remained. 5 centuries later, Christopher Columbus pioneered his way here and established something lasting. Braving unknown waters, Columbus discovered land unknown to the rest of the world. His achievement opened the floodgates of European exploration and led to the settlement of mainland North and South America. It was the beginning of the Old World's transformation of the New World. It made possible the birth of the United States. Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy in 1451. His father was a weaver, but young Columbus was destined to make seafaring voyages, not wool. In his 20s, he sailed for the Portuguese merchant marine, reaching distant places as far away as Britain and Iceland. By the early 1480s, Columbus developed an ambition that defined the rest of his life. He envisioned an expedition to find a direct sea route west to Asia, the exotic land full of coveted gold and spices. In 1453, the network of trade routes to Asia, known as the Silk Road, had been interrupted when the Ottoman Empire conquered Constantinople. Almost everyone in Europe called for an eastern sea route. Not Columbus. Go west, he thought, directly across the Atlantic. He could not have known that the North and South American continent stood in the way of any western route. In 1484, Columbus sought funding from Portugal's John II. The king turned him down. 2 years later, he turned to Spain's King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Alas, they turned him down. At the time, the two monarchs were heavily invested in completing the centuries-long Reconquista, a war intended to expel the Moors from Spain. In 1492, the Spanish won the Great Battle at the city of Granada, ending Islamic rule in the Iberian Peninsula. Again, Columbus asked Ferdinand and Isabella to fund his voyage. This time, they said yes. If successful, the expedition would enrich the Spanish realm. Columbus also promised to bring Christianity to Asia, a major draw for his Catholic patrons. On August 3, 1492, Columbus and his crew of about 90 Spaniards set sail from Palos, Spain in 3 ships, 2 small ones, the Nina and the Pinta, and a larger one that Columbus captained, the Santa Maria. Just off the coast of Morocco, the expedition hovered in the Canary Islands for 1 month. On September 6, the 3 ships ventured west, crossed the vast Atlantic toward unknown waters. Several weeks in, the crew began to grumble. They feared low provisions. Worse yet, they feared never seeing Spain again. As mutiny brewed, Columbus promised his captains, if land was not spotted soon, he would turn back. On October 12th, the dare paid off. At 2 in the morning, the Pinta's lookout, Rodrigo de Triana, spotted lights. The expedition had discovered land. Columbus stepped into a longboat and rowed to the island. Once ashore, he knelt and prayed. He christened the island San Salvador, Spanish for Holy Savior. Believing he had reached the Indies, Columbus called the natives Indians. They were members of the Arawak tribe, but the name Indian eventually spread across the hemisphere and has stuck for all these centuries. In late October, Columbus landed on Cuba, an island he thought was Japan. On December 6, he reached another island. He called it Hispaniola, its name to this day. In January of 1493, Columbus returned to Spain, leaving behind 39 men on Hispaniola and the first European fort in the Americas. The monarchs declared him a hero. Spain would send him on 3 more voyages. Columbus died in 1506, 2 years after his final trip. He had not found a route to the East Indies. He had found neither an abundance of gold or silver nor the spices coveted in Europe. While Columbus did not introduce slavery to the New World, it was already pervasive among native tribes. He was the first European to enslave natives. He ruled his settlements poorly. Between his third and fourth voyages, Columbus was arrested, imprisoned in San Salvador, and returned to Spain, where he was stripped of his titles and endured protracted legal troubles. On his fourth and final voyage, Columbus reached modern-day Panama. He did not know it, but he was just miles from the Pacific Ocean. Still, what Columbus achieved was monumental. His discovery of unknown lands and unknown peoples bridged one human existence across the entire Earth, what we call the world. In his wake came waves of changes that transformed the Western Hemisphere. Old world explorations and conquests into the New World accelerated. Christianity spread across both continents. The Spanish and Portuguese languages prevailed in most of South America, Spanish in much of the North. The name Columbus would shape the American landscape, his spirit, the culture. The District of Columbia is home to America's capital. 33 of the 50 states have a town or city named Columbus. Columbus Day marks the national calendar. Columbia Records, the Columbia Broadcasting System, or CBS, and Columbia Pictures all played significant roles in forging the American imagination. In one of the most fitting tributes, NASA named its first space shuttlecraft Columbia, a monument to the pioneer who bridged the old world to the new.